Welcome to Think Alive. We're Sharon and Andy, just two people with a dream and a vision of restoring our traditional stone-built farmhouse in southern Spain, transforming it into a beautiful off-grid home and sharing our journey with you. Good morning everyone.
Morning everyone.
It's a bit of a cloudy, windy day on the Finca today. Nevertheless, we need to crack on with that solar.
Yes, it's right. So, if you remember, I was going to do 3 strings of our 3 panel banks going in, sending 30 amps in to the house, 27 to be precise-ish. That I was going from the figures from the old inverter, the other inverter, the faulty one that we returned. I actually read the manual on this one, which is always a good idea, and it'll only utilise 22 amps. So, if we do it, what we're going to do now is split them into 2 strings of 6 panels, which will give us 19.4 amps, being able to, we'll maximise it. If you got 30 amps going in, it can only handle 22. It'll just cut it off, clip it as it were, so you're wasting a lot of your power. Yeah. So, how are we going to do that? Right, so if you saw the last video, these 4 are all wired in series in a string. I'm going to add those 2 to it and then do these other 6 in a string. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bury this, which I've just cut across there to run the cables through so we can split these 2 off it, which means more digging, and especially we've got to dig all the spoil that we dug out of those other holes, so we're moving it twice now.
It's in. We're just going to bury it now. Of course, we forgot that we're trying to chip away here, and that's where the original concrete is when we put the legs into the ground. So that's as low as it can go, really. It's okay, we'll just bury it.
As always, as eager as ever, getting ahead of ourselves. We need to run the cables through it first before we bury it. So that's the next thing to do. So the next thing to do now is disconnect. The M1's not connected, we only just put it in the other day, if you saw, we didn't bother connecting it. Just disconnect that one from our junction box. I've isolated it in there so there's no current flowing through it. We'll get him out and then go back to working on the other string. Right, so with them out, I can now switch these 2 back on, keep us charging best we can. Right, so I've got all my leads made up, got all my right ends on. I've isolated this string in there, so all I've got to do now is carry on from that end one, post to neg, post to neg, post to neg, and that'll then feed back to my original wire that I put in yesterday. Right, we'll switch them on, see what we get. 252 volts, that's magic. That seems alright. 253. So that means we've got 50% of our panels now, 2 kilowatts, just over 2 kilowatts, powering our new battery. I think now is the time to swap this to the main AC feed for the house, and then we can deal with the other side of the panels after that. 264 volts, big volts. Right, so I've got some pretty large cabling that's going to join my inverter to my consumer unit, distribution panel, whatever you want to call it. What I need to do now is turn this off and switch the inverter off, because obviously I'm going to be wiring into the AC power and we don't want to be working on it live. So we turn the inverter off with a bit of beeping, and then I'm going to switch the battery off as well. Wire these in, run them on the conduit, did I just say that? All the way up there, along there, and then down into there. So I won't bore you with the details, I'll get it done. So basically what I've done first, I've measured, cut, clamped, I'll put my clips in, I'm not tightening them up yet for my conduit. So now I can at least, I have to feed the cable through, because we never feed it through like that. You do the stage at a time, but at least I know I've got all the bits in the right place. So now I can get my cable wired in and hopefully threaded through this to somewhere near where we want to be over there. So after an epic struggle, to there, the 3 wires ready to go into this thing here. Excellent. Right, need to get the power off, because that's the next thing to do really. And then we can switch over to our new system. Right, so it's time, the big switch over. Sharon's got the torch, because we're going to be plunged into darkness any minute. So I've just got to wire these 3 connections in here, 3 out, 3 in. And so yeah, can we have torch please?
Yeah.
Off we go. Oh, in fact, I'll just turn that one off first, take the load off the system. There we go. That one's off. And batteries off. Right, spooky, eh? Right, let's get this done. 10 minutes later, can you see me? I look good in this light, apparently, in the dark. Right, so now we're on, we're good. I'm gonna turn the battery on, start it. It's running apparently. Turn the inverter on. See what happens. We should have power any minute. Do this bleeping thing. Waiting for it to communicate with the battery. There we go. Check we're doing it. Battery's at 95%. There we go. Inverter lights just come on. Batteries are feeding the inverter. AC 50 Hz. Right, so if we switch our main breaker on now, we should get the light on. Right, okay. The inverter says it's doing its thing and power's going on. Hurrah! Hey, fantastic, it works. Right, so next I want to try and get this generator wired back up. It's actually rain, it's not like real rain, it's like dash stuff that wets you, drizzle stuff, that's it. It's horrible. I've got this massive white cable, I saw it yesterday earlier. Look at that, it's got to go into this. The inverter's very quiet, it seems weird not having a big noise in your ear. So I'm gonna see if I can get the plug end done first, and then come inside and wire our breaker up. Right, I managed to get the plug on the wire outside. That was a bit of a struggle. It's heavy duty stuff that is. I'm going to see if I can get it wired into the breaker and then the breaker into there. So at least we'll be able to test the generator. I don't know how far we're going to get today. It's getting on already and I've nearly had enough. Right, so I'll get this on the wall there and see what we can do. To save myself a lot of pain, I've just stripped the outer sheath off that, and that was a mission in itself as well. I'm going to put a couple of extra screws in this. Yeah, pause and neg. This one is for the big compressor that lives under here. It only runs when the generator's going, so that'll be wired into this one as well. So from there, then I just put the next 3 up again. I'm just going to join the earths together inside the case, and so that'll go in the neutral, that'll go in the pause there, same coming up to here, into the contacts up here, and we can test it. Right, it's in. Cool. Probably do some of these after, tighten up a bit, hide them, but for now it's in. So I think that's all the connections. All we've got to do now is connect up the auto start to the generator. Don't think I'm going to get time for that today, but I'm going to start the generator up and see what it does. Right, it's running, I switched it on. It's showing generator, but probably because of the settings and because the battery doesn't need it, it's not actually showing that it's doing anything, it's just showing that it's putting in 232 volts. But it seems to be working, so I'm guessing that's alright. We'll find out more as we discover more about it. Right, so as you can see, I forgot to plug the generator into that. So I'll do that tomorrow now. And then all I've got left to do with these things is all 2 auto start wires. Just need to go into the little module that's under here somewhere. Again, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I've had enough. It's working. What more can we want? And we've got the other panels, of course, to wire up as well and to bring over to this side. But for now, we're at 93%. Yep, see how we go overnight. Right, so the next phase is done. The generator's completely set up. There's the big cable. We didn't want to show you yesterday because it was raining and drizzling. But it's a beautiful day today. It was supposed to rain again, but it isn't. So I've done the settings inside the auto start settings. We've tested it. I set it up artificially high, so it'd kick in. It works. So we're now set back to normal, and I can get the rest of these solar panels done. And if anyone's interested, before the end of the video, we're going to be doing a cost. But I haven't worked it out yet, so we can't do it now. But a cost of what it would cost to install what we'll ultimately have right from scratch, from day one. So in the meantime, I'll get these panels wired up. Right, it's the same as before. We've just put a pole across. We can't bury this one because of the wall and the step, but it's fine as it is. So I'm going to start here, do all them in series, and then bounce back up to these and up, down, and to the house on this cable that's there. So let's get on with it. Right, so back inside, we've actually tested these batteries, and the specific gravity is super low in them. Basically they're faulty. I've been in negotiations with the company. They kind of admitted that they're faulty because they can't offer any further solutions after doing all the tests that they've asked me to do on them. So I've asked for a refund on them, and I've got our solicitor lined up. We're going to take legal action against them if they're not forthcoming with it. So that'll make a big difference. Anyway, now, in order to carry on doing that other string of panels, I need to disconnect this controller from the batteries. It is turned off, but I need to disconnect it from the batteries as well. Well, we don't need any more. All for sale. While I'm at it, I'm going to disconnect this one as well, because I want to use this switch for over here because it's the same as that one, whereas that one's slightly different. Not that it matters, but right, that's the negative out of the way. Get rid of the pause, and then get this switch off the wall. So with all the load off the panels, I've disconnected each individual one, and I'm just taking the wires out now so we can sort through them, because we can reuse some of the bits with the plugs on, save using new ones. Get these out of the way. There we go. And there's going to be a spare junction box because we only need 2 now. Cool. Right, so with all the panels disconnected, I want to wire this switch up. I need to disconnect it from this, wire it up to here, put it in here again, feed the neg through like I did before with the wire technique. And obviously I'll need to turn this off because there's 260 odd volts in there, and we don't want to be messing with that. Stop your heart, that will. Certainly give you a massive muscle contraction and not allow you to let go of it. Not recommended. So yeah, I'll get it done. You've seen it done before, same as I did this one. So I'll get it cracked on. Right, so here's an interesting one for you. I disconnected that. The thing here went down to no volts. Just to be sure, I put my meter across it, and it was showing 12, 13, 14, 15 volts and rising. So we can only guess it's being fed back from the inverter. I don't want to turn it off, but luckily I put my little extra fuse in there, and now it's 0, well, a couple of millivolts, so we're not worried about that. So yeah, always check. Right, so these are the wires that come from my switch I've just seen me do inside. I'm going to wire them into a junction box, a new one again. Not that there was anything wrong with the old one, it's just massive. And then from our junction there, send off our positive, which is going to go pos, neg, and then pos, neg, just the same as I did the other day around all the other panels. Coming back here with a neg, which will then join back into that one to complete the circuit. So I'll get that done. Rightio, at last we're done. What a long day that was. Everything always takes longer than you expect it to, but we're done. The two back strings are in, they're both working. We can isolate each one individually to check that it's working. Or if we need to do any maintenance or anything on it, which hopefully we won't need to. It's gone cloud, there's a big black cloud come over the sun. We're pulling in 2.5 amps at the minute, 500 watts, which is still not bad. So the next thing, all that remains now is to tidy all these cables up, finish them off, outside as well under the panels, get rid of all this mess and get it on marketplace or whatever we're going to do with it. Yeah, we'll keep you posted about the batteries and we'll come back to those costs in a minute. Right, okay, this is being absolutely fantastic. I'm just done a washing machine load this morning to put it to the test. It's not even touching it, absolutely brilliant. Batteries are fully charged, or well, they were fully charged about 11:30 this morning, which is fantastic still. Right, so what I need to do now is get rid of all this old stuff off the wall, tidy up the cables underneath the panels and around the panels, and get these bits finished off inside. If you remember the other day I was going to put this earth, run it into the thing, but I'm going to join all my earths together inside this other little box here. There's the earth from the generator, the other earth from the generator to the generator charger, and then there'll be the earth off this one because that's from a massive compressor that's under there that'll only run off the generator because it's massive. Yeah, I'll get all them in and get that lot tidied out, and then I can look at getting this lot off the wall. Right, okay, looking pretty good. There we are. The last thing to do, I've put the earth on the battery all in, and the last thing to do is to bolt this battery down. Comes with these little brackets. Obviously it's better bolted down because there's a hell of a lot of volts and power coming down. You don't want it moving, it's unlikely to. It weighs 52 kilos, so it's not going to wobble about. But I'm going to put a couple of brackets on it anyway. I can get the screws out of the bag, and that'll be done. Apart from the marathon job of tidying up, sorting all the wires out, finding homes for all the connectors I've managed to save, etc, etc. Of course, as usual, I'm getting ahead of myself. I've still got to get this off the wall, get that one off the wall, get rid of that switch, get rid of this switch, disconnect all these batteries, and decide, well, they might want them back if they're going to give it. If we're going to get a refund, they might want them back. I don't know. So we'll just stack them all closer together here. But our main new one is done. It's up and running. That's what matters the most. Righto. So we've had a few comments in the last video, I think it was, about it's all about people not understanding. Apologies if we've done something that you're not particularly interested in, but we can only show what we're doing on a daily basis. That's Think Alive. Originally we started off with a 24 volt system because we only planned to have 2 kilowatts of panels. That was the original design for it. But then subsequently Paul, Anya and Gareth, thank you so much guys, from Fortuna Logica, donated us some more panels, and they also gave us great advice on this system and helped us source this battery and did us a great price on that as well, so thank you so much. The website's in progress. As soon as it's ready, we'll be sticking a link below for them. So now, because we've got like 4 kilowatts of panels, if you've got a system over 2 kilowatts, 3 kilowatts certainly, you're better off going for 48 volts because the current is a lot lower. It means you can use thinner wires and there's more readily available stuff that can cope with the kind of current that can deal with. So as our batteries were completely shot, we had to get new batteries anyway. We thought we'd take the opportunity to upgrade the whole thing to 48 volts, and we're glad we did. Right, so what have we got? we've got 4.2 kilowatts of solar panels. Basically, when the sun shines on them, these generate our electricity. We're completely off grid, so this is our life basically. We said we'd do costs as well. On today's values, I've priced them all up. These are 350 watt panels. We've got 12 of them. You can't get this advancing that fast. You can't get 350 watt panels anymore, or not easily. And why would you want to? Because the newer stuff's bigger. But for an equivalent of 4 kilowatts of solar panels, you're looking at around 2,000 euros. We made all the frames for them ourselves. If you're going to get frames in for those, by the supports and everything, you're probably looking at about another 500 euros. So obviously, again, by doing it yourself, you save yourself a ton of cash. And what happens with all that power that we generate from the solar panels? Two ways really. We'll start with the battery. This is the battery. This stores, saves and captures the energy that's generated by the panels, so it can be used when the panels aren't get the sun shining on them. When the sun is shining on them, once the batteries are fully charged, or even while they're being charged, the inverter here, that will use power from the panels or from the battery, and also charge the battery back. This is sort of the brain that controls everything. It makes it all happen, as it were. So what do the batteries cost? You're looking around probably 2,700 to 3,000 euros for a 5 kilowatt battery. And the inverter, I think that was around 800 or something like that. Then of course on top of that you've got meters and meters of cabling, switches, fuses, breakers, junction boxes, and all that sort of stuff. So you're probably another 600 or 700 euros for that lot. And the inverter, of course, I forgot to mention, then actually sends all the power to the house that we use, that we consume for all our domestic electricity. The final piece of the puzzle is our generator. Should we get several days of cloud and darkness or whatever, or rainy days, which fortunately we don't get that often here, the batteries will deplete and they cut themselves off when they reach 20% to protect themselves to stop them from being damaged. Of course, what do you do if that happens? You've got a problem, you've got no electric, and it can happen. I think we had 11 days on the trot last winter. They weren't necessarily cloudy, but they weren't great generating days, and the depletion you'd get over that period, it wouldn't do. It just run them down and they just cut off, which is not what you want. So we've got this backup generator, which again is a 5 kilowatt generator, and this starts automatically. It's very, very clever. When the batteries get down, we set it so it kicks in when the batteries get down to 25%. So they're nowhere near, they're well away from that cut-off point, that dangerous point. It starts instantly, it starts charging instantly. This charges the batteries and powers everything. And we can also start it whenever we want to provide extra power for things inside. For example, I keep saying about the compressor, the big compressor being wired into the generator. It's because if I'm using the plasma cutter, the system cannot cope with the big compressor and the plasma cutter at the same time. It's about the only thing we can't run off our power. So that's why that's done like that. So there we go. Any questions, please stick them in the comments. We hope we've explained things well. So of course the cost of this was 1,345 euros. You can pay a lot more for them, and we got it from the manufacturer stroke importer type people, so we got a great deal on it. So yeah, the total cost for the whole system, you're looking between, depending on where you are, I suppose, between 7,500 and 8,000 euros, whatever that is in your currency. I don't know, because I don't know where you are. But payback time on that, we reckon by today's electricity costs, is going to be around 3 years. So, it's a no-brainer, especially as we haven't got any access to grid power here anyway, or we have, but it was going to cost us. Someone over the other side of the village got quoted 8,000 euros last week, so we're very happy with that. And yeah, what does this 4-5 kilowatts mean? The panels are 4 kilowatts. They should produce around 13 kilowatts a day in the depths of winter on the shortest days, according to our local solar irradiation figures. The inverter puts out 5 kilowatts of electricity, which means we've got a 5 kilowatt supply, which is about 20 amps, 21 amps or something like that. And so a good healthy power. So anyway, without risk of boring you any further, just thought we'd try and explain it a little bit, because I know quite a few people watching don't kind of understand it, so we tried. So I hope that does.
And we do appreciate, for a lot of ladies out there, myself included, I'm not really interested in the solar as long as I have power to do my washing, etc. But we know a lot of you guys are into it, so sometimes has to be a balance.
Yes.
Bear with us.
We do try.
Massive thank you to everybody that sent me birthday wishes. Really appreciate it. Inundated. Tried to reply to most of you, but just could not. So thank you guys so much. Yeah. Incidentally, behind me you may see Day of the Triffids. The other week I had a bit of a disaster with my tomato plants and used some recycled water, which they obviously didn't like, and the next day virtually all the leaves had gone brown and they looked like they were going to die on me. I persevered with them because they've got fruit on, and carried on watering them, and in fact they came back to life, and I've got loads of tomatoes at the moment. But in the meantime, because I didn't think they would survive, I planted 4 little seeds in my bed where the cucumbers used to be, and this is what we have. I've never seen such huge tomato plants in my life. Lots of flowers on them. They may or may not produce actual tomatoes because it's not the season now. I keep trying to get them to grow up this, and it's not happening. They're just too heavy. But I thought whilst we're standing here, I'll just mention them because
they smell nice enough.
They smell beautiful, but I've just never seen such large tomato plants in my life. Anyway, guys, enough of that waffle. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. We'll do something different next time.
We will. Thank you to all our supporters, all our subscribers. We've hit 7,000.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, and we will see you on
Thursday.